Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It's a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, April 29, 2024, and this is episode 138. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay. Today I want to share my handwerk perikelen, my crafty adventures from this week with you, and let me start with what I'm wearing because I'm happy with what I'm wearing today. This is one of my favorite, no it is not one of, it is my favorite summer cardigan. And it is the Mema cardigan. It's a pattern by Nodecker from Pip and Pin. I made it a few years ago, 3 maybe 2, I don't know exactly. And it is a really lovely, nice, thin layer. That's really nice to wear in summer when in the morning it's a bit cold or in the night or during the day, of course. And it is so lovely to wear because it is knit in fingering weight. That's also quite a challenge. It is a brioche pattern and it was my first experience with brioche knitwork and I think my only. I did start my Stria cardigan also 2 years ago, but I never finished it because the yarn and the pattern, they were not matching. It is still on my list in other yarn, but this is my only finished object in brioche. Brioche is how I say it in Dutch. Brioche. Sometimes a word can sound very silly when you say it several times after each other. So that's also what's happening now with brioche. Brioche. Stop, Sarah. I want to make a no edit episode today because we have holidays here. It is quite early in the morning. My girls are still sleeping and I want to finish filming this podcast before they wake and I will go out with the dog. I'm sitting in my living room because in the early morning in summer the sun is really shining at the back of our house, and our bedroom, my knitting office, is at the back, and also our kitchen table. So those spots are really bright and sunny and warm now. So filming is not really an option because it's too much sunlight. So then I have to sit here. But it is in the living room, so my girls are not allowed to come downstairs when they awake. Right now they have to stay in bed until mommy is done with her filming. That's really normally they are at school, so there's no problem, but I don't think they mind sleeping a little bit longer. So I am a little bit in a hurry, so no editing today, also because I just want to feel a little bit of the holiday feeling, sitting and knitting, maybe a little bit in the sun because today it's good weather. Okay, but this cardigan is really nice. I did knit it in superwash merino, and that's not the yarn I would advise. The pro of it is definitely that I love to wear it on my bare skin. I told before, I guess. I am not really sensitive to woolly yarns, except when I'm hot-tempered. That's happening quite quickly in summer, and then yarn gets itchy on me, and it's really annoying. And there's not much needed to get me annoyed when I am feeling hot-tempered. I try to avoid the itchy yarns in summer. But this is not itchy at all. I can wear it on my bare skin with no problem, and it's really nice. But I guess I also have some Sunday non-superwash, Sandnes Sunday non-superwash merino yarn in stash, and I guess that would give me the same feeling. I'm not quite sure. But it is really nice. I love the color. I did love to knit the brioche. Brioche knitting is not hard to do, I guess. The thing it makes it challenging for me is fixing mistakes. when you accidentally drop a stitch, or you do a knit instead of a purl, or otherwise fixing it afterwards. I really don't understand how the stitches, how the yarn strands are going. Normally I can fix mistakes quite easily. I just drop a stitch a few rows, and if it is lace or cables, it doesn't matter. But with brioche, it doesn't work. And of course, I don't have a lot of experience yet, so maybe I just have to do it more. But it was really a challenge. And also knitting a garment in fingering weight. Of course, it takes more time than when you knit when you use a thicker yarn weight. A few weeks ago, there was a new pattern released, the Rebbeca cardigan in DK weight. So if you want a little bit more of a quick knit, that's also an option. But the fingering weight also makes it a lightweight, thin layer. That's perfect for summer. I did quite some modifications. I don't remember them all, but I know the sleeves are actually 3/4 sleeves, I guess, and a little bit more wider. It is a raglan construction, so I just didn't make the raglan as deep as the pattern told. I love the more fitted look, and I did no decreases in the sleeve, only in the last round before the ribbing, to create a little bit of a balloon sleeve. I don't know if it's really working out the way I wanted. The ribbing is a bit in between. It's not long enough to be pretty, and it's also not short enough to be pretty. So I really love long ribbings, but because this is really a summer garment, I think this cute. Also, you can see the bracelets, and it's still a little bit of a 3/4 length, and I think I like it this way. I also did a 2x2 ribbing. I don't know, and quite a big ribbing at the bottom. I don't know if that was in the pattern or not. And if there, I think it's also meant as an open fronted cardigan, but I didn't add buttons. I just wear it open fronted, and that's perfect. So, and the brioche is really lovely. It's really feeling nice, and there are mistakes in it, but even with mistakes, a garment can be your favorite. That's also a nice experience. I definitely want to make another one. I have my yarn ready for it. There was a Dutch dyer. She did dye some lovely skeins inspired by people, by the color palette of people she followed on social media, and she also picked me. So I have my own. It is a Sarah yarn. Brown, of course, and I received one skein of her. It was very generous and very lovely and very heart jumping to see my name at the label. And I ordered 2 extra to make a cardigan of it, but it never happened. And that is actually not a merino yarn, I'm quite sure. So I don't know if it will be so nice wearing as this one in summer, but it's also a warm woolly layer in between over long sleeved t-shirts. And I have another heart jumping thing. I have a new dress. Last week we spent one night at a friend's place, my youngest girl and I, with some friends. They have a little, it is a bit of a tiny house, quite near to the sea. So we stayed over there with all the girls. A lot of big girls and a lot of tiny teenage girls, not really tiny anymore. And it was really nice and cozy. And we also visited a lovely small city quite close to that place. And we went to a thrift shop there. And it was really nice. I did buy my clothes at thrift shops quite often, but since I have my own hinterland dresses and all the linen skirts and of course the knitted top garments, I don't go to thrift shops anymore. I just have enough. But I fell in love with a dress, with 2 dresses actually. The other one I will wear another time, I guess, but especially with this one. But it's a bit of a confusing dress. I will explain, but let me stand up a little bit. There's this lovely band at the bottom of the fabric. I don't know if you can see it, but it's in the fabric, and it's a vintage dress. And I guess it's dark blue. or black. No, I think it's dark blue. And I really loved it. But the thing that's confusing about this dress, I did buy it, and when I put it on at home to show my husband, we discovered the pockets at the back, and they were a little bit in a weird place and a weird shape, and I was confused by them. And then later I discovered darts at my back, so there is some space for boobs at my back, but I don't have boobs on my back, at my back. So I realized, and also there was a little label here at the front, but which is actually the back, because I realized I did wear, I should wear my dress the other way around, because then the pockets make sense, because they would be here. But I was confused about the button band. The button band at your back, it doesn't sound logical to me. And I also didn't like it, because I love the buttons at the front. And the buttons at the back, you will sit on them. And it just didn't make sense in my head. But when I put the dress on the other way around, the darts at the breast, they do make sense, because you can see this space. It was already quite a good fit, but when I put it on the way it is supposed to be, the fit was really perfect. The darts were perfect, the pockets were perfect, only the buttons at the back. And it was a hard jumping dress, but because of that because of my confusion, I didn't knew, is it hard jumping or not? I didn't knew. And then I realized that I can wear it both ways. When I'm wearing a cardigan over it, it is, you don't see the boobs at my back, the place for the boobs. You do see the pockets, but I don't mind. And you don't see this part. And when it's really warm in summer, I can turn it around and wear it the way it's supposed to be. And still, the buttons on my back, I don't like them. But I don't see them also anyway. So when I'm wearing it the way it's supposed to be. So it was quite funny. Yeah, but I really love it. It's a thin cotton fabric. And I think it's really a lovely dress. For warmer weather. And now I'm wearing it with leggings, met is the Dutch word for with. I'm wearing it with leggings and with a top under it, and it's also good. So that was nice. Okay, my crafty adventures, my knitting projects. Only knitting today? Yes, only knitting today. So there is a little bit of crochet here for the balance and the ear also, but it's also from the thrift shop. It's not made by me. I was really happy about my Sanna cardigan last week. Oh, it is my plan to make no edit episode today. So normally I put in the little images of the original patterns, but because of the holiday, I won't do that today. So I'm sorry, but there will be links to the show notes. There will be links to the patterns in my show notes, so you can check all the things. And next week, when holiday is over, I will make a normal episode again with all the images. I really love when I'm watching an episode and someone's telling about, oh, I'm knitting this or I'm knitting that, to see the original picture so you can see what they are making. So that's the reason why I always do that in my podcast. But it's also quite time consuming, because when you have to watch your whole podcast, or to check at which moments you start talking about a specific pattern to put in the picture. And today I'm not feeling the motivation to do that, so I'm sorry. But the Sanna cardigan is a lovely pattern which will come out somewhere in May, I guess. By Rebbeca. It is a lot of Rebbeca from the Rebbeca. I'm really in a Rebbeca flow, so that's nice. But as you can see, I didn't make progress since last week. I was really enjoying this pattern, knitting this pattern. I'm doing a test knit, but I was at the third segment. You have different lace patterns too, and they alternate. And in between the lace there are garter, you do some garter stitch, so you have garter rows. as a line in between. So I did make the garter row after this lace pattern, and it was time to start with this one again. So I was dividing my stitch markers. It's all in the pattern, it's very clear, and I didn't have the right amount of stitches. So my first thought was, okay, I missed 2, so I thought, oh, just do an invisible increase somewhere 2 times, so you have the right amount. But then I realized, oh, I am doing a test knit. That's not how I'm supposed to do a test knit, because I must be sure that it's not a mistake in the pattern. I thought it was my own mistake, but I wasn't sure because I didn't check. So that means that I had to do quite some, no, not quite. I had to pick the pattern, do some calculations, check where the mistake was made. And that was a little bit time consuming, and I didn't want to do that. So this got out of flow. I was really good on steam with this, but the whole process felt still. And I thought, okay, I need another knitting work that I can do quite easily. So I showed you last week a beautiful skein of sock yarn I bought at a knitting event a few weeks ago. It was the Fire and Forest sock yarn. I made a skein of it. It's a bit of a messy skein. No, a yarn cake, a bit of a messy yarn cake, and I did cast on a pair of socks, and I really love it. It is dyed by a Dutch dyer. Her name is Linda from Wool Hobby. She also makes a podcast on YouTube, and she also makes English episodes, so I will link her down below. And this is a beautiful color, browns and greens and a little bit of black, dark gray. No, it's very dark brown and a lighter color, and I really love knitting it. And I was a bit doubting about the stitch pattern I wanted to use. I really know for sure that I want longer socks again, because I made my chocolate ribbing socks a few weeks ago, and I wear them all the time. I love the slouchy look around my ankles, especially now it's too warm to wear leg warmers. So I wasn't sure what for kind of stitch pattern I wanted to use. My friendship socks, they are all straight. They are my sock is at my friend right now. She's learning to knit socks, and she was really going good on her own sock with knitting the leg, but now she's at the ribbing. That's a little bit more challenging, especially the purl stitches. But she went on holiday and she said, oh, I really want to have your sock with me so I can knit on it. So I brought it to her. So that's really nice. That was already straight, so I wanted another one, and I did choose for a knit 3 purl 1 pattern, but I wanted to divide my purl stitches a little bit on the good way. When you just start knit 3 purl 1, you have quite some knit stitches at one side of your foot and a purl stitch at the other side, and it's a bit out of balance. And I wanted more in balance, so there was a purl line on both sides of the sock. So what I did, it was a bit hard to divide them good, because my stitch amount is 28, so there were not endless options. And at the end, I start my row. I'm sorry, I'm struggling. Take a deep breath, easy peasy. My head's going faster than my mouth, and that connection gets lost, and then I'm rambling and struggling, and that's what's happening. There's also a translation process going in my head. I think in Dutch. Why should I think in English? I never do that. Do I also think in English? That's interesting, because I always say, I always speak out my thoughts immediately. That's one of my talents, but also one of my biggest mistakes in life. No, not really mistake. It can be very useful, but also the opposite of useful. It can also be very embarrassing. I think out loud, so there's not much space. Sometimes it should be better to consider if you really want to say out loud your thoughts. But in my case, they are already out of my mouth. And then I think, oh, was it really a good idea to say this out loud, or was it better when it only stayed in my head? And it's really, yeah. And sometimes it's funny and useful and honest, but it can also be embarrassing or whatever. So maybe I am thinking in English because it's one way, but I don't know. But I did choose for knit 2 stitches, purl 1, and then do the knit 3, purl 1, and you end with knit purl 1 stitch and knit 1. So it still matches. So there are 2 knit stitches before the purl on this side, and there's 1 knit stitch before the purl on that side. So it is, instead of this way, it's a little bit more that way, and I love that look. And I also love the look of a knit 3 purl 1. It's nice. Yeah, you can see it at this side, I guess. I mean this column. This is the purl stitch column, and it is here on this side, and it would be, it would be different. And it's a detail, and I made a lot of socks in which I didn't thought about it before, and it's also, when it's on your feet, no one's seeing it, but it's just fun when you know. So yeah, really enjoying those socks. So they are in my backpack all the time, and I was working on them, and I realized that I didn't it was not a good idea to work on them all the time, because I had quite some activities last week in which sock knitting was really suitable. I had a trip and other things, and this one is in my backpack and it's really nice and easy to bring with you instead of a sweater or whatever else. So I realized that it was not a good idea to knit too much when I was just at home, not spend too much home knitting time on it, because then it would be finished too soon. It didn't grow a lot, I see now, but that was what I thought by then. So I thought, okay, I really need to check this. And in last week's episode, I told you all about my frustration around my scrappy Kerr sweater. I really want to knit up all my scraps. I have a lot of scraps that I didn't buy myself and that are not really hard jumping. They are not the color. These are mainly sock yarn scraps. And but I also don't want to throw them away or give them away. I really want to knit them up. I think it's very important for me to go through that process. I really, this whole knit, because that's the hard jumping thing I will tell you all about. I really love to experience some handwerk geluk. That's a Dutch word I created from some other words, and you can literally translate it in crafty happiness, only that doesn't sound as cozy as it sounds in Dutch. But I really love to learn. I really love the knitting and the crochet, and I really love doing it, and I really love the technical stuff to create pieces with strands of yarn, but I also really love another layer of the creative things you make, and that's what it gives me so much insights and useful thoughts about other aspects about how I am, how I work, how my programming is, what my talents are, but also what my I don't know the word, what holds me back to get to my talents, and the way I want to live my life. I really can find inspiration for that while I'm knitting. When I'm looking at my knitting or at my crochet work, it really gives me lovely insight. So this was, I knew, because there was so much emotion involved, so much frustration and negative emotion, I knew that there was something interesting happening in the Scrappy project process. But I didn't see the hard jumping part yet. It was mainly frustrating because of all the strands of yarn working together and they all get tangled all the time. And I also, I love the look. This is my Kerr sweater, a pattern by Rebbeca. I love the look, but it was not hard jumping. So I want to pick up this, and I didn't want to know what to do with it. So I was overthinking it. It was last Tuesday. I had a whole day knitting time. And then I thought maybe maybe I should use another pattern. I deep dived into this process in my Heart Jumping Friday episode from last Friday. I have a paid membership on YouTube, a paid membership part on YouTube, and I make episodes every Friday. You have to pay a little amount of money, but then you have access to all the episodes on Friday, and I share my heart jumping process, the things I learned, the insights I shared on last Friday's episode. I really deep dived in it, and I think, of course, it will not resonate with everybody, I guess, but if you like it, it might be interesting to check that. And if you want to become a member, the link is down here below. And I must warn you, that sounds quite dramatic, but it's important that you open the link in your internet browser and not in your YouTube app. When I'm opening a YouTube link on my phone, it immediately goes to the YouTube app. But you can't become a member in the app. It must go through the internet browser. So that you can do that on your phone or on your laptop or computer or whatever. So that is how it works. And you are more than welcome there. And if you are not interested, it's also good, because it's all good. And I love doing it. And there are a lot of people there. So I really am grateful for their enthusiasm, I guess. So I thought, okay, let me see if I have another DK weight pattern in my Ravelry library that might be suitable for a scrappy project. And I found the Leith Cardigan, also a Rebbeca pattern by Rebbeca. And it was not on my making list. I think I received this as a gift for a testknit. As a thank you for a testknit, so it was in my library for that, and I did choose it, and yeah, it is. I had so much fun this week. It was such a big difference with the frustration I felt with this one. I did start. It's a bottom-up cardigan, and it's not my favorite. I love top-down, but for this project, it was perfect. It was exactly what I need, because when you knit from bottom up, there's happening not a lot pattern wise. It's just knitting straight back and forth for quite some centimeters. And because I was so frustrated with all the times I get tangled and I forgot to do my decreases at the sleeve. Oh, it was so annoying, and I just needed an easy peasy knitting project. I did start with dark brown DK weight yarn. I was doubting about, I really wanted to have dark brown ribbing, and that was also my plan for this one. But I had to break a sweater quantity of this one, and I was doubting about it, because I have other yarns with less yarn balls in my stash that would be perfect for this one, but it was not dark brown. It was in other colors, and I also thought, shall I make the ribbing scrappy too? But I really want to catch all the colors into a brown line, so into brown ribbing. It makes it one piece. It holds it together, I guess. So I did break my sweater quantity. It is a yarn from Yerbo. Alpe, it is called. It is 100% DK weight yarn. It is not from Scandinavia. It's not from Sweden. It's made in India. So that was a little bit of disappointment. But it's really nice yarn to work with. It's really, I don't know if it's superwash or non-superwash, but it's really, it's a bit like Peer Gynt. Really knitting nice, looking nice stitch definition. I'm not quite sure. I think I bought it myself. But I also received quite some yarn from Etna a few years ago, when they start to deliver a Dutch in the Netherlands as a bit of promotion. But I'm quite sure I bought it myself, but a little bit doubt. So maybe it was gifted. I feel a bit ashamed that I don't know. I can't remember that anymore. I'm a spoiled lady. So I did cast on all the stitches, and I did some measurements. I did take some measurements at my already knitted garments to check the bust circumference, which size would be best. And I decided size 2 would be the best option. And when I was casting on the stitches, my heart was screaming, make size 1, make size 1. And I thought, no, I did a measurement, size 2 is better. But she screamed so loud that I had to follow her, and I'm really happy because it is actually quite wide still. So it was 20 stitches difference, so that it would be way too wide when I just followed my own measurements. So I didn't swatch, so I think there's something happening in the gauge that creates the big difference. So I didn't measure the garment yet, so I don't know. That will be, I will do that when it's finished. So that will be interesting. Yeah, I did choose for 5 row stripes this time. I was really doubting about that in this sweater, and I was actually thinking about just casting on this sweater, a new sweater, and then with 5 row stripes. But then I wanted a cardigan because the stripes would be longer, the rows would be longer, and it would be simplify the knitting process, and that's what I needed. And I love the 5 stripes structure. I really am doing, I'm really going good on structure. But also on some adventurous within the structure. And this was not enough structure for me. It was too adventurous, and I'm not such an adventurous type at all. So there were no boundaries, and I need a little bit of boundaries in my life. I really want to be the person to create my own boundaries. I don't like it when other people create my boundaries, but when I can create them myself, it's really holding me together, because I'm all over the place otherwise. And the structure and the routines, they are really hard jumping to me. But within the structure and within the and within the routines, it's important for me that there is some space to let it happen and to just create and to be creative. And the 5 row structure was perfect for this, because I had the boundaries of 5 rows. They are not rounds yet in this cardigan. I had the boundary of 5 rows. So that really simplified it. It gave me a bit of a peaceful feeling, a clear feeling. I know what I was up to. I just had to knit 5 rows. But within the rows, I was holding one magic yarn ball together with I have a lot of solids, and not only solid, but a lot of other yarn strands, a little bit bigger scraps. And I was holding them together. So there was happening a little bit of magic in the yarn balls. And yeah, that was quite exciting, because sometimes the contrast between the stripes was really big and sometimes it was really low. And I must confess, while I was knitting, especially with the first, those are colors I don't actually really like. And I was knitting and I was really doubting, oh, is it okay to let it happen? But I know that is the magic. Let it happen is the magic of a scrappy project. But there was too much let it happen here. So I realized, okay, trust on your structure, trust on your dark brown color to end it, and let it happen in between the 5 rows and the dark brown edging, the dark brown ribbing. And I'm really happy I did, because the body is finished now, and now it's looking good, and it is all bright and colorful and funny, and I really love it. So I will put it on. I just finished the shoulder seams. I did a knit, how do you call it? 3 needle bind off. I did a 3 needle bind off. I don't love seaming, so if I can avoid it, I do it, and it really works out good. Yeah, oh, it is so hard jumping. I really feel so happy. It is a cardigan with a V-shaped neckline, and I really love that. It's a really easy peasy pattern. If you are a beginner knitter, then did I told you what the pattern was? Yeah, the Leith cardigan. It is the original pattern. The Ravelry picture, the front picture, is a white with brighter color striped cardigan, and there is some intarsia at the middle of the back to cross the stripes. I didn't do that. I did, this cardigan was busy enough. I didn't yeah, it was not necessary. But it's really an easy peasy cardigan. You just knit up until you split for the sleeves, And then you do a little bit of increasing at the front to create the V-shaped neckline. It is not hard at all. You have to pick up quite some stitches. That might be a challenge, but it's also good to practice that. When you practice that enough, it isn't a challenge anymore. So yeah, I didn't match the line, the stripes up here. I didn't want to do that because sometimes my scraps were just too small to finish it, and I just this is the last row, and then I just played, and it really makes me happy. It is really yeah, a lovely colorful garment. It is quite, I didn't make it, so it is still quite wide at the back. There must be a button band, and then there's still some space, so I'm really happy I followed my heart and I didn't make a size 2. I want to make a brown ribbing instead of a double knitted button band. I just love the look of the ribbing. But before I will do that, I will cast on the sleeves, and I hope normally the sleeves were a drama on this garment, but normally I quite like knitting sleeves. I love them to use the knitting loop method. It's also really an easy peasy structured part of the knitting process. I really love doing that. So I am really looking forward to knit the sleeves. There was a moment, yesterday I made a little video for my Instagram, and it was laying flat on my table, and I thought, oh, it would be very nice as a sleeveless cardigan too. But then I had to do, when I wanted that, this is too wide because it's a dropped shoulder now. There must be some decreases here, but I can see me making another one with no sleeves. Maybe play a little bit with the pattern. It will be hard jumping too. So, or in a solid color, it can also be. But it's really, I really love it. It's so much fun. I really love it. So yeah, I just knit the. I told you about my lost trust in the magic knot. I just knit. I tied them together, and I didn't cut the yarn ends of the magic knot. I showed you last week, I guess. So this is a magic knot, but maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I don't know. But normally you can cut off it quite close to the magic knot, and nothing will happen. But my magic knots are not so not so magic, so they will go loose every now and then, and I don't want them. So now I don't cut off the yarn strands, and I just weave them in as I go, and it really works good. So for 5 or 6 stitches I weave them in, and I cut them off then anyway. So it was really nice. Not much yarn weaving was necessary, so that was really nice, and I will continue doing that. Yeah. It is really lovely to knit a scrappy project, and one of my insights, I really was doubting, should I declutter my scraps in colors and that are not hard jumping to me, but I really realized that it was necessary for me to make a garment of all my scraps, the hard jumping ones and the not so hard jumping ones, also as a bit of reminder that it is good to be conscious and careful over the things you put into your life. So in this case, the yarns. So I thought next time I will go to a knitting event or to a yarn shop, I always must wear this cardigan, which reminds me of not do impulsive acquisitions, and just be careful what is really hard jumping, what makes your heart sing. It can be colors or materials or the person who made it or the moment you buy it, but not just that over-consuming part of that the behavior yarn addicts can have. I can have that. so as a reminder, what I want to say something more about it. I forgot. I'm a bit distracted by all the colors. So it was really important for me to create something with all the things I have. Oh yeah, the life lesson, the insight was that it's of course not only suitable on the yarn. You can also It is also important of the things you eat, the things you put in your mouth, or the things you watch on your screen, or the people you invite in your life, or the activities you will plan in your agenda. That it's really important. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to eat this? Do I really want to watch this? Or is it just coming by? Do I really want to meet with this person? Is it just coming by and not really your taste? So that was also lovely. I love a lot. I'm a very enthusiastic person, so I love to eat. I love other people. I love doing things, but there's also a part of me which really wants to live simple and really needs the quiet time and lonely time to reload my battery. I told you I have a big battery. And when I collect too much in my life, too much people, too much activities, too much yarn, too much food, too much screen time, there's not enough space left for that resting time, that quiet time. So it's really important for me to be aware of the balance, and I'm quite sure I'm not the only person with those feelings. And this cardigan is reminding me of the balance. So it is also quite bright, and I think everybody should should have a bright colored garment in her life, or in his life. I have a rainbow sweater too, and I love colors, but I normally prefer to wear some darker, more nude, some basic colors, and just having a bright, colorful cardigan or sweater. There are days you need that, and there are days that it's really making your heart jump. For me, it was so interesting to have the experience that with this one, the process was really frustrating, and it was going so slow, and it was not hard jumping at all. And this one was flowing. It was a flowing process. It was flying off my needles. I didn't know I could knit so quick. I normally just knit a lot, but of course I don't knit slow too, but this was really a quick knit, and it was really, yeah, the energy, my creative energy went sky high, and it was such a difference with this one. And yeah, I really love that feeling. So it was really a good and nice experience. Okay, so we will go on holiday this week, and I won't bring this one with me. I will bring my Sanna cardigan with me, because did I told you about the mistake? I'm confused now. I already filmed my Dutch episodes. I'm confused now. I did found a mistake. It was my mistake. It was not a mistake of Rebbeca. It was not in the pattern. I forgot a yarn over twice again. I found a mistake. I tried to fix it afterwards. It didn't work, so I had to knit back all the needles, all the five rows. I did do, because this yarn, it is not a good match with me fixing mistakes afterwards. And it's now at a point I can fix the mistake and knit back on it again. And I'm really, how do you say it? Distracted. I'm really distracted by this knitting, but we will go on holiday, and I only will bring that one with me and this one not. So yeah, and that was hard jumping too. So I think it will be finished quite soon. Okay, I have two other things to share with you. Last weekend it was a special celebration here in the Netherlands. It was King's Day. We celebrate the birthday of our king, and there are all kind of festivities in all over the country. But the one we always do is the flea market. The Jumbo Market, I googled. It is in the city park. There is a flea market especially for children, meant for children to sell their toys and their books and their clothes, and so they can declutter, make other people happy, and they earn some money then they can buy new things. And we are there celebrating King's Day for years now with our children and our friends, and I really love to to sit in the park. It's much nicer than only visit the flea market, because it's always very busy and crowded, and when you just sit in the park at your chair, you can watch the people, a little bit of knitting, chatting, nice food and drinks, and we have a lovely day. But our children, they are getting older and older, and they are not really interested anymore in the flea market. But our youngest girl, she wanted to sell her crochet work together with a friend. They both crochet. It's really, my girl can make amigurumis, and she's really talented. I can't do it the way she does it, and it's really beautiful. She makes the most beautiful kawaii plants and food, and she puts eyes on everything, and it looks cute. So she's a 14-year-old girl. And they wanted to sell on the flea market, and it was really amazing, because they asked quite high prices, not high for craft work. Of course, that's always when you want to sell your knitting or crochet, in which you spend quite some time making it, so the prices are a little bit higher. But at the flea market the prices are always low, because there are mostly second-handed stuff. There's mostly second-handed stuff. So I did warn her, and I told her, don't be disappointed if people think you ask too much money. We can sell it on another special market if you want to. And my warning wasn't necessary. She sold out almost. She had more than 40 plants and other things, more than 40 things, and I think she had left 4 or 5, and she earned a lot of money. So she was really amazed, and it was really fun, and she really was happy, and all the people were so enthusiastic. And did you make it yourself? And it was really nice, and yeah, I think I made a little video when we were still home of her collection. I will try to edit it at the end. I can do that quite quickly. So that was really a nice and long day, and I'm very proud. My crafting mother heart is really jumping sky high with my crocheting girl. So yeah, there's another thing. I have an acquisition, not really. This is a skein of sock yarn. It is not bought by myself. It's also not meant for myself, but it's a lovely story. It is a sock yarn from La Bien Aimée. It is the color Winter Garden, and my son was on holiday with my parents-in-law. They went to Spain, to Madrid, and I told them before, if you see a yarn shop and you want some memory socks, pick a nice skein of yarn and I will knit you socks. So I really love to catch the feeling of a special visit or a holiday or occasion or whatever in a pair of socks or another garment. And my son, he didn't really want to have knitted socks, but my mother-in-law, she does. So she picked this skein from La Bien Aimée, and I will knit her socks. She can do it herself, but she doesn't like to knit anymore. She did quite some knitting, also for our kids when they were little. But I really love to knit her a beautiful pair of socks. As a memory of their wonderful trip with their grandson to a beautiful city. And I will cast them on tonight, I guess, because I have one pair of socks on the needles right now. I have one 2mm needle left, and you can never have enough socks on your needles, isn't it? Okay, this was it for today. I think I chatted for quite a long time. I will check if my girls are awake already, and my dog, she fell asleep, so I don't think she has to go out. No, there's no problem with waiting for her, so that's good, because otherwise I would feel really guilty, but that's not necessary. We have holidays still. Later this week we will go on holiday, we will go camping. It's really exciting because we hired a little camper van. We have a caravan, and I know in English it is a mobile home, the old caravan, but we really want to have a camper van, a little one, so we are more flexible, we can do more traveling and go far away. we can go to other countries. With our mobile home, it's a little bit harder because it's so old. And we will, I don't know, I think we will stay in the Netherlands because it's only a few days and it's a bit depending on the weather. But it's really exciting. We have no idea where we will go to, but I think I will film a little bit. I don't know. As I want to film for the Hard Jumping Friday part, but maybe I will share a little bit on Monday too. I don't know. But we can't bring a lot of stuff with us, so I really have to do a minimalistic yarn pack. So that's really interesting. Normally I bring a lot of knitting and crochet work with me when we go on holiday, but I have some pair of socks. I want to make the crochet bag I showed you last week and my Sanna cardigan, and that will be enough. But there will be also some driving time, and I assume my husband will be driving all the time, so I can knit. Sarah's a happy lady. Okay, I wish you a very nice week. I hope the weather is also nice at your place. It was very rainy and cold here in the Netherlands the last 2 weeks. I manifested that, so I apologize to my Dutch viewers. I really want to wear some woolly layers, some warm woolly layers, but now it is bright and sunny and the temperatures will get quite high, so I think it will be good camping weather. Maybe it will be a bit rainy, but we don't mind. It's cozy inside, so yeah. Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a lot of hard jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!